Okay, today I saw an excellent question on the Facebook group about bring directories, and it was about making the the categories for the features multi-select. Okay, so there's two types of multi-select. You got the one where you show you here, where you search when you're searching, you do a multi-select, multi-category select option here, and you have the multi-select when you're about to select the categories when you're creating the post. So let me show you what I'm talking about. So first, we don't see the category option here, and we don't see the category option here on the search because the actual feature does not have categories. So we're gonna add some categories. Bloop. Okay, there we go. We add those categories. How did I get here? Well, you go to edit post settings. Okay, you go to edit post settings, my content, edit post settings. You scroll down to whichever feature, these are all the features that you want to edit, and then you just edit the feature, plop, and that will take you here. And then on the main tab, the general settings tab, down here is where you see the post categories for that specific feature. So once we save this, at that moment, then on two different places, you're going to be able to pick and choose categories. Okay. So one of the places is when you're creating the actual post for that feature. So you can see that it says here article title, feature on homepage, and then publish date. There's no categories here. When I refresh this, because we now put the categories there, you'll be able to see this. And here on the search, you only see keywords. But because we now support categories for that feature, you're going to see this here. Okay. By default from BD, you are able to select multiple categories here. You don't need to customize this. You just need to add categories to the feature. That's by default there. But the problem is, what happens when you're creating a post and that post actually needs to be in multiple categories because it applies to multiple categories at the same time. Okay? That's what we're going to be dealing with today. So thanks to Kevin, his site, we're going to be doing this test. So first we gotta see which form the, in this case, the news articles, which are basically the blogs, is using. Which form this specific feature is using. For that, we go to, again, my content, edit post settings, and we look at that one. We'll go to that one, here the news article, which we know are blogs, and it's actually using the featured blog articles. We're like, okay, the featured blog articles. You can click here and immediately go to that uh, form, or you can go to Toolbox Form Manager and look for that form. Both work. Why do I want to go to this form? Because I need to see which widget, feature, field, uh, etc., whatever is creating this here, this category input field here, the select box. I need to see it because we need to turn it into a single select to a multi-select. Okay, I also need to double check what code is being used there to make sure that it saves correctly, it reads correctly, and it's searched correctly. So let's go here, and we're in the featured blog articles. Let's look for that puppy. So we're looking for something that talks about the categories. And we found this puppy here. Aha. Hey, buddy. Hey, buddy. So we copy that one. And now we go to Toolbox, Widget Manager. Bloop. And we search for that specific widget. How do I know it's a widget? Because it's literally telling me it's a widget here. Okay. So we search for that one. Aha, look at you. Hey, baby. Let's see how you've been built, little robot. Okay. I'm not going to go into details about PHP. I'm just going to say that it's a select box, and that's why it shows like this. And we want to make sure that it's multi-select. It saves multiple options and it reads multiple options. So there's a couple of changes that you're gonna do. I won't go into details on what you need to do, but for a select, when you wanted to save or read, basically read and write with multiple options, you add square brackets to the end of the name. So here you can see name, and here's the name of the select, so post category, and then at the end of the post category, we add square brackets. An opening square bracket and closing square bracket, and we're done there. That's it. That's all. Then we need to um, make sure that this PHP code here understands that we are doing multi-select. So right now, for the developers that see this, they'll understand that here is doing just a single one. It's just it's just assuming that you're only selecting one category, and that's it. We need to change that. We need to change it in a way that it understands that you're gonna actually be doing multiple ones. So that's one thing that we gotta do there. And also for the developers, not the a non-techie person wouldn't understand what I'm about to say, but this part is basically checking for one option and it's assigning the what's called the selected option to it. So it visually shows here. So like this dairy, it shows because it was selected already. So what do we need to do here? We need to do two things. We gotta make a multi-select. So let's just copy this one. We're gonna put it here. Um, if you follow me literally like I'm doing here, then it should work on your end for most of your features. So you got feature categories. This puppy is the one that's grabbing the all the options here. So let's see if we can actually not code so much. Just grab this one here, do this, do that, do that. Oh, McDonald, out of this, we got that baby there. And then we say here array, which is basically saying instead of just a single option, we're saying, well, search for whatever category option we're selecting, search for it if it was already picked at some point. If it was, then just show it here. So we're going to refresh this. In theory, it's going to work. Let me see here, there. Okay. Because this is a new widget that I just saved, we got to clear the cache. Always remember that the moment that you do a new widget, clear the cache, refresh live website. Click there. I'm trying to do this video as fast as possible because I know all of you need to work and other stuff. So let's see how this is going to play out. Okay, so we got dairy there, and that's it. It hasn't broken, nobody died doing this. So now we got to visually show that it is able to select multiple options. So for that, we're going to do the following. We're going to add a class here, and let's call it post category multi, something like that. We're going to copy this, and we're going to do a little trick here. BD already comes with something called select2, which is like a library that helps you customize select boxes, like this one, this box. So here we're going to put a little code here, some love here, some love there, love everywhere, and move this over here so you can actually see what you're supposed to be putting there. And do this here, we paste that there, we say select2. You can pause the video here so you can understand what I just did there. Once you have it ready, then in theory, I should be able now be able to select multiple categories. And in theory, like I said, in theory, because it's not doing it. Let's see what boo boo I did here. We got post category to multi select. Put multiple here. Maybe I forgot about that one. Multiple, it's an attribute that tells select, hey, you can select multiple ones. There's like a couple of things that you need to do at the same time. Okay, there we go. So now you're able to select multiple options. Select them. I'm not saying saving them or reading them again. So we're going to put 3. We're going to save this. And when the page refreshes, it should actually show all 3. I'm going to save this. In theory, it should be showing all of those 3. There we go. Now I need to debug or double check, do QA, quality assurance on this. So I'm going to remove 1 and I'm at this one and it should understand that I did that change. There we go. Okay, so now again, we need to double check that this is actually working. So I'm going to go to the front to see if that post shows, and I'm gonna search for machinery on the farm, dairy. Let's see how that goes. So I'm gonna just come here and dairy, do a search. There it is. Let's machinery. Why am I doing this type of check? Because I need to know that I actually read all the options that I selected. So on the farm. That's how I double check everything that's working. I don't want you to come to me 20 years later and say, oh, that didn't work. Okay, so we got this baby working. And now you have the option to multi-select here and multi-select here. Okay, so I'm going to put it like this. USDA and Kevin, what else can we put here for this specific case?
Anything you like for testing.
Okay,
Ag economics is fine.
okay. Well, let's save those 2, and I'm gonna search with those 2 in mind. Okay. Yeah.
Hang on, I'm approving the post.
Okay.
Okay, it's published.
Okay, let's do a search. So we got that baby there, and then uh, let's remove this one, put that one. There we go. We have it there. And what happens if I select both? Look at that baby. Still shows no errors, no weird things. So again, I leave the code here. What are the things that you needed to do? You needed to make this the name multi-select. That's where you add the brackets. You needed to tell the select to be multiple selection. We needed to add a class called whatever you wanted to call it. In this case, post category multi. So it was used by the JavaScript code here for the select to. And then lastly, we needed to tell the my category variable here to turn itself into an array so that when we did this part here, it would automatically detect that it was a multi-select option. With that done, then you're ready to go ahead. Lastly, it's very important for you to know that if you don't select by default, it's going to select the first one because you need to put, and I'm going to show you something here, my content, edit post settings. I'm going to go to this specific one, the news, sorry, the news, the blog. When you're creating, and this has happened to many, when you're creating the categories, make sure that you put a comma in the beginning. If you don't, it's going to auto select the first one. So then people are going to end up in the first category. If you put the comma there, then it's not going to select anything because it's going to be empty from the get-go. So people will need to come here and select something. Okay. Right now you're seeing it like this because we already selected these 2. But if this was a first post, it would have automatically created or selected the first category there. So here, okay, you can see that empty weird thing there. Here you can see, you can select this stuff here. If you're doing this trick that I just mentioned, you don't have to put that empty space there. Okay, but if you haven't done that and you're wondering why it selects the first one, it's because of that. You will need to put a comma in the beginning. Because we did this trick, then this is not needed anymore. And when you try to create a new post, in a second because I refreshed too fast, it shows this. Okay, it's not picking one automatically. So that also solves that issue. Okay, so hopefully this video will help a lot of people. Thank you, Kevin, and big hugs to everybody, and think positive.